So just find your way to a comfortable seat, whatever that is. If you have a blanket and you want to fold it up so that you have a place to put your sit bones, you can. Kind of just helps elevate the pelvis a little so you can get into a little better posture. And then let's just kind of wiggle around a little, find a little balance there, and then draw the attention up the spine, maybe close the eyes. Just take a couple nice deep rounds of breath. Taking a moment to actually give thought to the breath. And then from there, let's let the shoulder blades or the shoulders relax away from the ears, but then draw the shoulder blades together just a little. Open the chest, open the collarbones, the back of the neck, get long, draw the chin down just a little, just so the vertebrae in the neck match the vertebrae and the tall posture in the rest of the spine. And just take the next few rounds of breath to maybe select a focus point. Just something to draw the mind back, the attention back to when the thoughts begin to creep in. And then just continuing to keep the eyes closed. Let the chin come down to the chest. And let's take just a couple of neck circles, nice and slow to the right. Just warming up everything in the neck, or loosening up, I should say. All the nerves and glands and blood vessels that run through our neck. And then after you take a few rounds to the right, just pause anywhere and take a few rounds then to the left. And then let's just continue to come back to that neutral spine. When you feel like you've given equal attention in both directions, just bring the head back up to neutral. Let's draw the shoulders up to the ears and then open the chest as you slide the shoulder blades down the back, nice and open. Sitting up even taller than you did before. And the next time the shoulder blades slide down the back, let's pause with the hands on the knees, using that for a little bit of leverage. Let's lift the chin, open the chest a little bit more, nice and exaggerated. And then as you exhale, round through the spine, pull the chin to chest. Just a few rounds of seated cat-cow. Just loosening up all that stagnation that developed as we slept, and creating new momentum and new energy in our bodies. And then just come back to neutral. And then from this seated place, in just a minute, I'm just going to turn sideways. Extend the right leg out long and put a bend in that left knee. And then from there, interlace the fingers around the knee and then use the leverage of those interlaced fingers to sit yourself up nice and tall. And then keeping the right hand on the knee, let's inhale the left fingertips up, reach tall towards the ceiling. And then we're going to sweep those fingertips behind us, coming into a gentle spinal twist. So the left fingertips land behind you, a little bit tented if you need that for support. And then you have just a little bit of leverage from the hand to gently deepen that twist. But just always being mindful of your range of motion, just going as far as your spine naturally wants to go. Take one more big breath here, one nice big inhale, and then use the exhale to kind of sweep those fingertips back up and then close that shoulder, squaring yourself back off to where we started. And then you're just going to switch to the other side. So let's extend that left leg long, bend that right knee. Start with the interlaced fingers, check back in with the spine. And then leaving the left hand on the knee, inhale those right fingertips up, lengthen out, and then twist now to the right. If you haven't already, you could soften the gaze or maybe even close the eyes again. Just one less distraction so we can just maintain our focus right to our bodies. Let's take one more big inhale here. And then exhale, sweep that arm up and back. Come back to center, close off. And then we're going to come into a yin pose for a moment called dragonfly pose. You're going to extend both legs out to the side. And then you can adjust this once you get into your forward fold, but then come back in, check in with your sit bones, check in with your pelvis, sit yourself up nice and tall, and then we're going to forward fold. And I do not forward fold very much, very stiff. But you might find that even as you start to forward fold, you can widen your feet a little bit, or maybe you need to close them in a little. But once you kind of find that sweet spot where you're feeling the stretch and sensation, especially through the back side of the body, then just pause for a moment. Again, closing the eyes if you wish, and then consciously relaxing everything, especially the quad muscles. I'm just going to hold this for about a minute. You might find that as the body continues to relax, the muscles disengage, as we hold the stretch, that you might be able to even fold a little deeper. Focusing on that breath again. Next time you cycle to an inhale, use that in breath to draw the top of the head back up towards the ceiling. And then allow the exhale just to relax you back into that nice tall posture. Just pausing for a second. And then we're going to come into seated butterfly pose. So you're going to take the legs and you're going to bring the soles of the feet together. And then you might find that you want to adjust the feet. You can soften it by pushing the feet a little further away from you. You can open the hips a little bit more and deepen the stretch by pulling the feet in a little. Check back in with the posture and then round through the spine. Same thing, softening into that forward fold. Once you're there again, settling in, try to relax the quad muscles, let the belly soften. Just coming back, focusing on the breath, finding the inhale, and then using that breath to draw yourself back up to upright. Exhale, just relaxes you into, again, to that nice tall posture. And then you can straighten the legs back out. You can bring the fingertips behind you and then lift the chest. Really pull yourself up and out of your low back. A little counter stretch there. And then we're just going to bring ourselves around and we're going to come into child's pose. And if you use that blanket, you can even keep it there to rest your forehead on. Just decide whether you want the knees wide, whether you want the focus of the stretch to be on the hips, or whether you want it on the spine. If you want it on the spine, draw the knees a little closer together. And then maybe even before you start to settle in, kind of shift the hips side to side. And then you can lower down. Same thing, scanning the body, noticing where you're holding on to tension, and then see if you can relax. And then just allowing the focus to draw right to where you want the focus to go, which would be in the hips or through the spine, the back, the low back muscles, the shoulders. Let's take one or two more rounds of breath here. And if you just want to stay in a more softened version of child's pose, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to start to get a little bit more active, you can start to reach the fingertips towards the top of the mat, engage the arms, press into the tailbone, and activate the stretch a little bit. One more breath here. And we're going to slide the palms back a little bit closer to the shoulders, and then slowly start to press yourself up to tabletop, bring the knees in. And then let's just come through a few rounds of cat-cow, just on your own. So if you want to move slow and hold and stretch a little, you can, or you can create a little bit more heat and move a little faster. It's just up to you. Let's pause for a moment. Leave the hips right over top of the knees where they are. Let's walk the palms or the fingertips towards the top of the mat, and then open the chest down towards the mat. So the hips stay up and the focus is through the back and then underneath the arms, the chest. And let's inhale, back up nice and slow. You're going to pick up that right leg. You're going to extend it long behind you, and the toes are going to stay tucked. So you're really engaging in the heel, and then press into the heel. Notice the stretch in the calf muscle in the back of the leg. And then press into the toes. Shift the weight forward over top of the wrists. And then the stretch gets a little stronger through the bottom of the foot and the toes. And then just do that one more time. Press back into the heel. And then shift forward. And then go ahead and set that knee down, and then pick up the left knee and take that same stretch down the left side. So press into the heel, nice and long stretch. And then forward back into the wrists, bottom of the foot. And then one more time. And then let's go ahead and set that down. Walking the palms forward now, again, just like we were getting ready for puppy pose. But this time we're going to shift the hips down to the mat. Let's take a moment and seal. Pull the shoulder blades together, stretch through those hip flexors, the belly, the back. One more breath here. Shift the hips back towards the heels. Keep our fingertips where they are. Arms stay active. Shift back, child's pose. And then as you shift forward, really ripple up through the spine. Come back into seal. And then shift the hips back to neutral, come into tabletop. We're going to bring the right foot forward. Step it between the fingers. And then we're going to use our hands to lift our shoulders up over top of our hips. And then from here, let's inhale those fingertips up, lengthen out. And then when you find your balance, keep your quad muscles engaged, creating a little bit of heat here. Let's bend the elbows down, draw the shoulder blades together, open the chest. Hold that for a moment. And then we're going to reach those fingertips behind us, interlace the fingers, straighten the arms, and open the chest a little bit more. Maybe even see if you can lift those interlaced fingers just slightly off the spine, really stretch through the biceps, chest, fronts of the shoulders. And then go ahead and start to release that bind. Soften the shoulders back where they are, and then release the interlaced fingers. And then let's bring the hands to the floor for a little bit of support. And then see if you can shift the knee forward. You can't see well where I'm at. Shift the knee forward and stretch into the hips. Then from here, you're going to bring both hands to the inside of that right leg. We're going to tuck the back toes, straighten the legs, and then you're going to walk the hands over so you end up in a wide leg forward fold. And then just see if you can release the top of the head down towards the mat. Nice strong stretch through the backs of the legs. Should feel really nice. Let the head hang heavy so there's no tension in the neck. And then from there, let's halfway lengthen. So bring the palms underneath the chest. Maybe shorten the stance just a little if it happened to widen to deepen that stretch. And then placing the right hand, tented fingertips, you can use a fist, whatever's comfortable for you, underneath heart center. Let's inhale those left fingertips up. Taking a little spinal twist here. Just hold for a moment. And then sweep those fingertips down. Place the right hand with the left underneath heart center now, and then reach those right fingertips up. And then let's go ahead and set that back down. And then we're going to walk ourselves right back to that runner's lunge. So kind of rotate the fingertips back towards the top of the mat. The right toes turn. You come up onto the ball of the left foot, and then you're back in runner's lunge. We were in low lunge before, so now we're in runner's lunge. And then see if you can open the hips again. And then we're going to set that. You're going to set that left knee down, and then you're going to bring the right knee back to meet it. So you land back in tabletop. Take a round of cat-cow. Staying where you are. I'm just going to turn around so that I continue to face the camera. So now we're going to bring the left leg forward. So framing that left foot. And then when you feel set, bring the hands to the knees. Slowly draw the shoulders up over top of the hips. Find your balance. And then when you're ready, sweep the fingertips up towards the ceiling. The chin lifts a little. Make sure you're out of the low back. And then let's bend the elbows. Into those cactus arms. Open the chest. And then let's sweep the arms behind us, interlace the fingers, straighten the arms. Just remembering to breathe. And then start to relax the arms, let those shoulders shift back forward, and then release the bind. Let's bring the arms back up for a moment. And then we're going to hinge forward. We're going to frame that front foot. Start to shift the knee over top of the toes. Bring the stretch into that right hip flexor. And now we're going to do the same thing that we did on the other side. So bring both of those hands inside of that left foot. We're going to start to turn, pick up the back leg, and you're right back into that wide leg forward fold. So deepen into the stretch again, top of the head hangs towards the mat. And then from here, we're going to halfway lengthen with both palms underneath the chest. And you're going to put a bend in the right knee, shift the right hip back, and maybe even walk the hands over. The left leg will straighten. And then you're going to switch that to the other side. So walk the hands through center and then bend in that left knee. So now just slowly alternate between the two. And then maybe come back to a forward fold, or if something else feels good to you, feel like there's something else you want to do, you're more than welcome to. This is really just a nice posterior stretch. And then we're going to start to shift ourselves back to that runner's lunge. So the back knee is going to stay up. Frame that left foot. And then see if you can open the hips. And then you're going to set that right knee down. You're going to slowly bring that left foot back to meet the right. Land back in your tabletop. Maybe take a few rounds of that cat-cow again. It's turning around to meet you. And then from here, let's walk the fingertips forward just a little. Let's tuck the toes, lift the hips, and come into downward facing dog for a moment. So from here, you can pedal out the knees, pedal out the heels, stretch into the toes and the ankles, or maybe even just try to get the heels towards the mat, just stretching through the back side of the body, the hamstring, the glute muscles, opening the chest towards the mat. And then let's go ahead and just bring the knees back down. And we'll flip ourselves around and come onto our backs. And then you have your hands behind you for support. Lower yourself down. Take a moment, adjust the hips, adjust the spine, adjust your clothing. Take a breath just for a moment. And then let's bring the knees into the chest. Just a soft squeeze, maybe even rock side to side. It's continuing to wake up the back and the spine, but it's also soothing to the nervous system. It's rocking motion. And let's just take that momentum away just for a minute. Find stillness, and let's extend the toes up towards the ceiling. Start with the toes pointed. Maybe even roll into the ankles for a moment while we're here. And then flex the feet, so press through the heels. And then bring the knees back into the chest. Nice soft squeeze. Interlace the fingers around the right knee. Set the sole of the left foot on the mat. Into wind removing pose, little compression in the hip. Extend that left leg long. And then let's take that left knee over to I'm sorry, not that left knee, that right knee over to the left side, take a spinal twist. You can keep that right knee on the, I'm sorry, I got my left and right screwed up this morning. You can keep that left hand on the outside of that right knee for a little bit of leverage, and then try to soften that right shoulder blade into the mat. And let's slowly come back to center. Keep the bend in that right knee, and then the left knee will come to meet it. Back to your starting point. And then the right foot goes to the mat, interlace fingers around the left knee. Extend the left leg long. So now there's compression in the left hip as the right hip opens up. And then let's guide that left knee to the right side. Same thing, you have the hand on the outside of the knee for just a little bit of balance, a little bit of leverage. And then soften that left shoulder into the mat. Just keeping the focus or your attention either on your focal point or in the body. Just kind of noticing how all of this stretching feels, all the sensations that arise. And then let's start to come back to center again. Bring the knees back into the chest. And then widen the knees outside of the rib cage, and then bring the hands and see if you can grab a hold of the ankle. So the arms are on the insides of the legs. And then see if with the hands on the ankles, you can use the arms for a little bit of leverage to pull the feet together. And then use the elbows to just gently open the knees a little bit. And as you're doing so, again, make sure that your chin is tucked, the back of the neck is long, and that you're trying to relax the shoulders to the mat. This is just a variation on Malasana or Yogi Squat. I think we might have even did this last week in one of the classes we did. And then keep the feet together, release the bind, and then let the feet land on the mat. Relaxing into bound angle pose. So just continuing to allow those hips to open. Allowing those thigh muscles to soften. Taking a moment to come back to the breath. So as you inhale, try to notice the belly expanding. So you're taking nice, deep, full breaths. And then nice, long, slow exhales. And then just maybe using the next few rounds of breath to kind of set your intention for your day. You know, what are your personal goals for the day ahead of you? And then let's very slowly start to bring those knees towards the ceiling. And then when the soles of the feet land on the mat, pause there for just a moment. And then grabbing your blanket, and hopefully it's folded somehow, maybe making a rectangle. It doesn't need to be anywhere particular. It's just, we're going to use it for a little bit of elevation. So sit up beside your hips and then pressing into your feet, lift your hips up and slide the blanket underneath, so that when you set your pelvis down, you have the blanket there for support. So it's Just supported bridge pose. Just a little bit of an inversion, and then widen the feet, maybe to the edges of the mat, and then let the knees rest on each other. You can bring the belly or the hands to the belly, or you can extend the arms out to the side, maybe with the palms facing up. If you're feeling a little bit more open or receptive, you might want to lay with the arms to the side and the palms up. But if you want to come into like a more grounded or focus more on grounding, then maybe bring the hands to the belly. Again, just close the eyes or soften the gaze for a moment. Come back to the breath. One or two more, just nice, slow, purposeful, focused rounds of breath. And then let's walk the feet back in so they're about hip distance apart. And then you're going to extend both legs long keep the blanket under the pelvis, extend both legs long, draw the arms up overhead, come into a full body stretch. And just another little more reach, a little more length. And then go ahead and bring the arms back down by the sides. The feet come in, press into the feet enough that you can shift the hips up, pull the blanket out, and then set the pelvis back down. And then just allow yourself to be guided right into Shavasana, however you want that to be. Just extend the legs long, come onto the back, roll onto your side, or maybe even your belly. We didn't really spend much time on the belly today. And then just take that clearing breath just to settle you into complete stillness, just relaxing. And I will bring you back when it is time. So very gently begin to deepen the breath. Keep the eyes closed. Keep yourself right in that place of stillness. And just take a moment to kind of notice how you feel. And then a moment of gratitude for that. For the moment of stillness, for the practice, and for you, for just taking a little moment of your day just for you, especially in the early morning to start your day. just sets a completely different tone. And of course, I have gratitude for you for sharing your morning practice with me. I honor the love, the light, the truth, and the beauty within you because it is also within me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.